I'm sorry. Okay. Everyone, if you could please stand to salute our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. As per requirement, notice is hereby given this a regular meeting of the Borough of Highlands Land Use Board, and all requirements have been met. Notice has been transmitted to the Asbury Park Press and the Two River Times. Notice has been posted to the Public Bulletin Board. Formal action will be taken. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bulan.
Here.
Chief Burton.
Here.
Ms. LaRusso. Mr. Montecalvo.
Here.
Councilmember Olszewski. Here. Mr. Zaya.
Here.
Mr. Zill.
Here.
Vice Chair Tierney. Here. Chair Knox.
Here.
Ms. Chang. Mr. Kramer. Mr. Cody.
Here.
Ms. Vickery.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. At this point, this is open for public comment. Nothing pertaining to cases we're going to hear this evening, but in case somebody from the audience had a question on how this board operates or anything of that nature. Okay. Seeing none, we'll move along. Approval of minutes, June 12, 2025. Any questions on that? No? I'll make a motion.
Mayor Bulan.
Yes.
Chief Burton.
Yes.
Mr. Montecalvo.
Yes.
Mr. Zill.
Yes.
Mr. Cody.
Yes.
Vice Chair Tierney. Yes. Chair Knox.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, on the resolutions, motorization, LUB 25-07, 125 Bay Avenue, LLC, blocks 46, lot 4, change of use.
I'll offer it.
Okay, I'll second.
I'm sorry, who seconded? Chief Burton. Thank you. Mayor Bulan.
Yes.
Chief Burton.
Yes.
Mr. Montecalvo? Nope, can't. Mr. Zill.
Yes.
Mr. Cody?
Yes.
Ms. Vickery?
Yes.
Vice Chair Tierney? Yes. Chair Knox?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along, motorization, LUB 25-08 Bay Avenue, Property Management LLC, 185 Bay Avenue, 181 Bay Avenue, block 59, lot 11.01, change of use. I'll offer that. Second.
Chief Burton.
Yes.
Mr. Zill.
Yes.
Mr. Cody.
Yes.
Ms. Vickery.
Yes.
Vice Chair Tierney. Yes. Chair Knox.
Yes. And-
Thank you. Please note that Mr. Kramer arrived at 7:05.
Okay,
Payments first.
yeah, I know that, but
Yeah.
there was one that was the stenographer, the second one?
Yes.
Okay, hearing on the new business, LUB 25-09, Hauler, 35 Miller Street, lot 54, lot 13, here for a variance. They here this evening? Okay. I guess, I'm not sure if you have a lawyer, is it just yourself? I don't think you are representing?
We're here ourselves, architect.
Okay.
Please use the microphone. There's a stenographer present.
Did she use it for this case, or this?
No, no, for
I
the
don't
next
know,
one.
but I just,
Hello.
this is not the case you're looking for.
Right, that's what I thought, okay, great. Okay, sir, why don't you, please state your name and address?
Into the mic.
Yep.
Actually, I'll just swear, since
Yeah.
it's gonna be, you'll be the applicant, but you also need to testify, so I'll swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Now, please tell us your name for the record and your address.
Edward Poller, 30 Miller Street, Highlands, New Jersey.
Okay. Okay.
I guess
Tell us what you're doing.
I prepared a little thing here just so I.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Not used to doing this. I'm here with my wife Lori and our architect Jim Daly. And as borough residents, Lori and I would like to thank all of you for your time and your dedication to the important matters that come before you. I have a lot of respect for that. Last November, we were offered the opportunity to purchase the property at 35 Miller Street. Lori and I live diagonally across the street on the corner of 5th and Miller. We felt if we purchased the property, we could remove the derelict existing house and improve the street view for the immediate neighbors as well as the Highland community. In February, we became owners of the property. We've grown fond of Miller Street and have developed good relations with our neighbors. Our daughter lives on South Peak Street with her family, and we enjoy playtime on the Miller Street beach year-round with our 2 grandsons. It's our intention to develop the property and relocate to make it our primary residence. Just for a quick history, the property was first developed in 1913 for mixed use. Longtime residents of Highlands may remember John and Angelina Azalina, who lived upstairs and ran a small food market on the first floor. And in around 1950, they moved their business to Bay Ave and opened up the food basket. The building which stood on the property was eventually turned into a 3-family dwelling, and at some point was boarded up and left abandoned. You know, here we are tonight, how times have changed. Our approach to this property isn't as much personal as I feel it's a good use of the property within the residential zone of the town for single-family living. So 35 Miller Street is in the 2.02 zone, is that marked?
Should we mark this as?
Yeah, this was not submitted previously, right?
Pardon?
It wasn't submitted previously. This is the first time we're seeing this, correct?
First time you guys are seeing this?
Is that correct?
It's not part of our.
Okay, so yeah, we'll mark this as A1, so it's a zoning map.
Okay. So in yellow is the 2.02 zone. It appears to be the second largest residential zone in the town by where, I guess, further towards Atlantic Highlands, you have some smaller properties. Our property at 35 Miller is on the southeast side of Miller Street between 4th and 5th Street. We are here tonight seeking bulk variance relief for the lot width that we have of 25 feet, where 50 feet is required. The lot area of 2,000 square feet, where 4,000 square feet is required. The lot setback of 3 feet, where 4 feet is required. A rear setback of 10 feet, where 20 feet is required. A front setback of 15 feet, where 20 feet is required. And building coverage of 53.2%, where a maximum of 33% is allowed. The lot area of 2,000 square feet and the lot width of 25 feet are existing nonconformities, and they do drive our need for further variance relief in the other directions. This lot at 25 feet, or half the width of the zone requirement, really falls into an exceptional narrowness of a lot within the C1 variance relief that's allowed. And that's what's really led us to be here to ask for these hardship variances. We have not been able to comprise a home that's of good size within the boundaries that exist. The architectural design presents a desirable visual effect and environment for the neighborhood. It's our intention to construct a single-family home that will serve the community for many, many decades as a family home. We believe that there's... And put this up what you have seen. This is the site plan of the property. We believe there are a lot of positives in the design of the house. We've designed the home with a covered entry, which is a positive in bad weather for package delivery. everyday life is much better. We've also designed the home as we have in the house we live now with internal staircases. With an elevated home, whether it's during snow, ice, rain, you can walk right into the house with a first floor entry level and foyer and the internal staircase. That does expand the size of the house as it's viewed, but it doesn't have any outside stairs either on the house. We've designed the home, as many of you may have reviewed the plan, with off-street parking. We are intending to have 2 cars in the garage and 1 car in the driveway. And the driveway, as we push the front of the house back under the porch roof or whatever, not a porch, but under the roof, that driveway is 23 feet off the right-of-way. So we're about close to 30 feet off of the pavement. Also, we have, in the width of the house, we're asking, that we have an elevator. In the future, we don't quite yet need it, but we're starting to feel as if we may at some time, and we don't want to struggle with that where we are now. I don't believe we could fit an elevator. But with the elevator and with some internal storage, it does drive the width of the house a little bit. We also are looking to build a house with 3 bedrooms. This is a much more conducive arrangement for family living. Somebody with more than 1 child or relatives that visit, that is probably an important feature. If I may, I have a zoning map, which I have not presented as part of what's been distributed to you guys. So just for the point in fact, this
This is not submitted, or this was?
was not submitted.
Okay, so this will be A2, and this is also a tax map, right?
This is sheet 13 of your tax map. The image of this gives our property in the pink, and just the neighboring properties in general in yellow that are 25 feet in width as ours is. So it's not uncommon, or it's not, inconsistent with the neighborhood in general to have a 25-foot lot. There's plenty of 30-foot lots there, but I didn't note that. So, with a 25-foot lot, with a house with 2 parking spaces inside the house, with a 3rd bedroom elevator, all of which I think have positive effects, I think we wind up where we are with our building coverage. As high as the building coverage is as compared to what's expected, I would want to point out that our lot coverage is still under the maximum lot coverage for the size lot that we have. The intent is to build a home that is of efficient use of space by having interior storage, by having interior staircases, by keeping the property clean but tight. I think if people have seen the house I live in, you would recognize that can be accomplished. That's how we operate ourselves at this point. The other thing I would like to discuss in variances would be the front yard setback. not been presented before.
So this will be A3, and then I'll let you describe what it is.
Okay, this is a aerial view from Google Maps for the purpose of coming up with a prevailing setback. Okay? I have myself taken these measurements, and I have documented how I've done it, and I had this certified, so it is a legitimate document, I think. I don't know much about this, but that's what I did, and I have some to hand out if you'd like to look at it. I can describe what it says, so I don't know if you need to look at it or not. Right, but
Let's say for now, I would provide testimony in fiscal, since you're not, and this will just be a point of clarification. Since you're not sworn as an expert, so you're providing a testimony, I'm not to take anything away from what you're providing, so.
I mentioned it to be that way.
Okay.
That's what it is, yeah. It sort of is. I did my best, measured everything twice. I always learned that from being in business, okay. So the required setbacks in this zone are 20 feet in the front yard. In measuring 200 feet from the corners of our property within the Block 54 and within the 2.02 zone of Block 54, the prevailing setback is 16.45 feet. My neighboring homes are to my, let's say, if I'm facing 35 Miller Street, to the right is a two-family home that is at 24.66 feet, and the home to the left of 35 Miller Street is 19.16 feet off of the right-of-way. The average of those two is somewhere around 21 feet. I know that is a relevant point in fact. It's 21.9 feet. Okay. The point I'd like to make is that at 15 feet, which I'm requesting as a front yard setback, we've pushed the garage entry back 8 feet additionally to get to 23 feet of parking space in the driveway. As I look up the street to the east, the houses are 19.16, 21 feet, 13.5, 19.5, 11.1, 10.6. So all of my neighbors' houses are close to conforming, and one is set back and it's an older home. As a two-family home on a double lot, I don't know if at some point in the near future that may be further developed. I don't know. But at this time, it's at 24.6 feet. So I believe, to the best of my knowledge, the prevailing setback is 16.45 feet. And the only other comment I'd like to make regarding the front setback is that these ones that I've made in yellow are newer homes. Since I've lived here and owned my property for 5 or 6 years, these homes on 4th Street were built, and they were built at 15, 15, 12, and 12 and a half feet off the right of way. And the new homes that are being built right now on my street are, I think they presume them to be 15 feet. You know, I measured from the trim piece a little less, but let's say that's 15 feet. So I do see a common application of 15 feet with some of the homes being approved. The newer homes are on 30-foot lots. The ones on 4th Street are more like my size lot. Let me just verify that these are true. Start saying things. Yes. 2 of them, 3.
Sir, use my phone, please. This
I'm very sorry. Yes, on 4th Street, the ones on the left side of that size property. And then I'd like to turn this over to Mr. Daly here. He's going to discuss the side yard and rear yard variance requests. Rest of the questions. First. No.
Okay. Hold on. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, I have a question. 2.
Sure.
1, the elevator. Do you plan on pre-wiring it and putting a pad there?
Yeah, we're going to depress the floor to receive the elevator.
Yes.
I've built many elevators, and we will prepare it properly with blocking and all the conduit necessary.
Are you looking for a height variance?
We are not.
Okay.
No, they still fit within the height, yeah.
I'm good.
I have a question.
That's the catch.
How did you determine the right-of-way line so you could measure the setback?
Correct. So my measurements were taken from the center of the street, and I split the right-of-way distance, which on Miller Street specifically is 40 feet, and we have a 32-foot roadway there. So from the face of the curb, I came in 6 feet. There's no way for me to really determine if the road itself sways between. But since we are dealing with the one side of the street, assuming it may run straight through the right-of-way, the numbers all fall into place kind of in a
Does
similar
it
way.
seem to align with the back of the sidewalk?
It does not. It's 6 inches past the back of the sidewalk. Okay.
Can I ask a question about the foundation plan? I'm just looking at, you have, it looks like plans for potential staircase into the garage.
I'm sorry?
There's a drawing of, I can't tell if it's potential stairs in the garage near the elevator.
That's the entryway comes obviously through the front door, and then it goes up to a landing, and then from there, the dotted stairs are breaking the ceiling.
Okay.
That's it.
How, if you're putting 2 cars into the garage, how are you getting cars past the staircase that goes into the garage space?
So our garage ceiling is designed to be 8 foot 9 inches, I believe. So most cars will clear that quite well. And as you see the break line there, I may have to move the stairs a foot or 2 steps forward when the design of the house, when the construction documents are drawn, but certainly will only break that ceiling maybe 1 or 2 steps, maybe 2 feet.
It's a different question. It's the width of the garage and
Correct.
getting a car past the stairs into the garage, not the height, but the width.
Correct.
Correct.
I think we're kind of saying. So do you see the dotted lines on
I
the
do,
steps?
yeah.
Okay, that's where the staircase and the stairs themselves would break through the ceiling of the garage. So you
Yes.
wind up with one of these things. So if it's intrusive, then we're going to add a step into the foyer and start a step or 2 back to be sure to
Stairs
get,
farther towards the stairwell and away from the interior of the garage.
and get away from being in the internal rectangle of the garage space.
All right, so the way that you've drawn them right now, can you actually get a car past that stair?
Absolutely.
Some of these questions might be better served to the architect.
Oh,
Just
sorry.
for, kind of,
Okay.
Yeah, and I think he testified also that he had up put the stairs enclosed over the house, as opposed to having stairs going up the side of the
No, I'm
house.
talking about these stairs. And how do you get, this is the garage door opening, this staircase is right in the middle of the
yeah, that'll be.
Those stairs going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone does. Okay. I'm just going, that's testimony for 2 cars under the house, is my, I'm just going to that part of the testimony.
Quick comment. Nice job.
Thank you.
You're doing yourself, did a great job.
Thank you, yeah, it was a little effort. Yeah, Jim can take over with that. I think, just as a last comment, because I would be building the house, that is not going to become an issue. If I have to pull the stairs 2 steps, we have a fairly deep foyer, if I have to bring them 2 steps forward to get to a higher landing, so when you pass the area of the garage, you're not gonna have anything like this, you know what I mean? Okay,
Thank you.
all right, nothing else?
Are you gonna get qualifications? We don't need. We need qualifications. Qualifications.
Yeah, we'll just wait for the answer.
Good evening.
Raise your right hand, swear.
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And please spell and state your name and provide us with your business address, please.
Yes, James T. Daly, architect, and it's 273 First Street, Keyport, New Jersey.
And I guess we could have the privilege of your qualifications.
Yes, licensed in New Jersey since 1991. Went to New Jersey Institute of Technology for architecture. And I have testified before this board about 5, 6 years ago, not at this location, of course, but, and many other boards in Monmouth County. I've been doing this for 35 years in this area. I did quite a few house lists actually in town, right after Sandy, so I'm very familiar with the town.
Okay, thank you.
So, and, he sort of took over my job there a little bit, but he insisted, he's a very particular person, and you'll find he's gonna do a good job. He's also the builder too, by the way, so he didn't quite emphasize that, but, and quite a good builder in my opinion. So anyway, he gave you all that information. If you want to get a little more into either the construction of the house, we have the 2 side yards, like he said. Because of the reduced size lot in your ordinance, it allows for the reduction of the side yard setbacks by half. But in this case, we're just asking for an additional foot on the 4-foot side, because it's 6 foot and 8 foot is what's normally on a 50-foot lot. So in this case, we have a 25-foot lot, and which would reduce to, typically 3 and 4. And the reason being for that extra foot is for the width for the cars inside, and the question you asked earlier about the fitting the garage and the stairs inside, which I can address. So why don't we just talk about that right now? So that's. Sure. We made a diagram. This, if you want to add this as an additional, this will be paid for. This is a little parking diagram we made for you also, just to show how we're cognizant of the fact that, parking in town obviously is very tight. And the whole idea here is to have 3 off-street parking spaces. So there would be 2 in the garage. And that's also a condition of wanting the building a little bit longer in order to fit those 2 cars in the garage. And then as Ed said, we have a full 23 feet in the front. I'm guessing when you made your ordinance too, that 20-foot setback was to park a car in the front door, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if you know who devised the 20-foot setback, but my guess is that's what that was about, because that's the size of the parking space. So anyway, we have that in the front. And then to address the width here, the dotted line is the stair where it would be actually go over the car. So this is the stair after it goes up, and then it turns, and then it's over. So it's well over the top of the car. So that doesn't intrude. And then the width where the car is, that's 11 feet there. So that's a typical. You could say it's a little tight, but your typical. Let's say you were to build a 1-car garage, that would be about 12, 13 feet long. So you can easily fit the car. Most cars are about 6 feet wide, 6'2". That's a typical car width, by the way. So that gives you plenty of room for your doors on the side. To answer that question earlier.
I was looking at the plans the wrong way. I thought maybe some extra stairs that somehow associated with the elevator, but it's just the angle of up and up.
Right.
So I appreciate that. Thank you.
And the dotted just indicates, dotted usually is something that's in a plan that's either below or above you. So in this case, it's above.
That is potentially future stairs, so thank you for explaining that.
Okay. So that's the parking situation, and if you do need to see that, we do have a handout here of the parking in a diagram here to address that. And did talk about both the front and rear setback, but if you have further questions from me about that, I'll address that. And then, so the plans are on A2. I'm sure you've all reviewed this ahead of time, but we have so the first level is in the flood zone, obviously, so that complies with FEMA flood zone requirements. It'll be 8-inch block, it'll have flood vents, and once it raises the floor with the 2, he's been experiencing on that particular street. Actually, there's been several floods where it just literally comes up through the street grades, and there's one little section there of that street that floods over the line like that a couple times a year. So he just wants to make sure his cars are out of that. So, but that's all internal. Then on the next floor up, we have a living room in the front. We have your stairs. This is the future elevator, which appears on your plan as storage, but that's designed to be all lined up as a closet, and they have a small U-shaped kitchen, laundry, and a small outlet in the back. And then there's a small little 6-foot deck in the back, and both AC units will be on that deck, so they're well above the floodplain. So all mechanical equipment has to be above the floodplain. Then the next level up would be your bedroom level, so the stairs continue on in a U shape. You have the master in the front with a side bathroom, little walk-in closet, and then a hallway leading on one side of the home. As you can see too, because of the narrowness of the home, we have to put the hallway literally on one side of the home in order to get the bedrooms on the other side. So, it's something so narrow, you almost have to do that. So, and then we have two, and they're not particularly large bedrooms, so the bedrooms are about 10 by 11, child's bedroom, so that's nothing overly large in order to get the 3 bedrooms that we're talking about. And then you have a typical bathroom with a shower, sink, and toilet, so that's nothing optional either. It's a standard layout for a bathroom in the rear. And then we have a third level that, once again, the stairs continue up, so does the elevator, and then we have a small powder room, and then that third level complies with at least the building code requirement of 1/3 of the floor below with a ceiling height of 7 feet or higher. And then the remainder of it would have a ceiling height of less than 7 feet. But we could talk about that further if we need to. So, and then there's a front and rear roof deck up on that third level there. So that third level is smaller, and it does meet that height requirement. Any questions on any of what I just said there?
Increasing the height of the floor in the garage, is that going to?
That's all it's all within the height limit, and he's just he's losing height in the garage itself as
So
well.
it's not going to affect the grade outside?
Correct, yeah. There's a small, the driveway will be pitched, but it should be anyway, so all driveways are pitched. And I know some of you are builders here, but, a garage on the inside would be pitched anyway. They're always pitched towards the front, to the door, in case there's some water inside the garage.
Any other questions from the board?
No, I'm good.
Any questions from the audience? Okay. Well, are we kind of okay with some of this?
So are you done or still going with the presentation? Do you have more to go with the presentation?
Not really, unless you have questions.
Well, okay, I was just making sure I think the board does have some questions.
Right. Maybe 2 more items that were addressed in the review too. So there is the requirement for an electric meter on the right side of the house. So we have a stair there for that. That will come from the rear, and there's full access for someone to go read that meter if necessary. But as you know, they're replacing all the meters with remote readers. And then
It's not so much about reading it,
right,
pulling it out in the emergency.
Sure, and that he has full access to that. And it will be, it'll double as a place to put some garbage cans underneath it when, it'll be high enough to do that. And that's on the right side of the house. So there's that. And on the one plan, it says grass, but, the coverage is either grass or gravel, and Ed would prefer to put gravel there as opposed to grass, trying to maintain grass. Because as you know, in this town, it's hard to maintain grass, and it ends up as dirt, basically, when you have it. So.
Right. But that's just around the house, that's not
Correct.
anywhere for parking. It's not
Correct,
in that
correct.
corner. Okay.
But the driveway would be, concrete, right? Yeah, or asphalt or concrete driveway, yes.
Okay. Could we just run through some of the questions?
Sure.
From my letter? So you were talking about that third floor.
Right.
Is that considered a half story or just?
It is by definition in the building code, correct?
Thank you. But was there a couple of housekeeping things?
Sure.
With the name of the site plan we'd like to see signed and sealed plans from you that match the site plan. When you're coming for resolution compliance, it doesn't have to be any more than what you've shown us.
Or you're saying if the site plan says, you mean like the grass gravel issue and some other
Oh, right.
inconsistencies?
Right, and you've got a building of X feet by X.
Sure.
Your architectural should mirror that.
Sure.
Okay. In order for you to get your building permit, this site plan needs to be signed off. You'll meet the conditions of the approval.
Yes,
And
there's
so there
there's actually a
should be-
sign off on the cover sheet there.
Okay. A place for the chair, the secretary, and the engineer.
Okay, so
Sign.
there's 3 sign-offs then, right?
Right.
As opposed to the 2 that were requested?
That's right. And you'll need that sign off in order to get your building permits.
Okay.
Oh, there is an easement on the lot right now that we don't think is necessary in the future, and we're asking for it to be extinguished.
Can you address that?
So I believe the easement is on the neighbor's property, allowing me to use part of his property to
To access,
demolish our house.
yeah, which seems at this point, because you have access on the sides of your own property, so it seems unnecessary. So that would, why the board would ask, unless there's a reason why it shouldn't be extinguished, but it seems unnecessary given the plans proposed.
Yeah, I did speak with our neighbor, Mr. DeBold, I guess how you say his name, I'm not certain of that. DeBold. I did speak with him about this, and he felt that it was extinguished once the house was down, and I agreed with him, and he's been very courteous to let us access his property and so on, and neighborly about things. So I think I'm not trying to enforce that, nor am I using that.
We'll just put, and you have no objection to a condition in the resolution. If the board acts favorably on the application, that there's a condition that the extent it's not extinguished, you would take such action as needed to extinguish it.
I will.
Okay.
Okay, and note that there's some elevations on the site plan that seem to direct runoff to lot 12. We prefer any water coming off this property to go towards the
I mean,
street.
that's certainly not the intention, so, and then there's talk about, a catchment basin, but that would be more than, right? There's drainage. Yeah.
I don't recall the catchment basin thing, so. By using gravel, it allows the water to dispense through the soil much quicker, and the property to the right, as you refer to, is misgraded in itself. So the challenge will be maybe to have the gravel being either thicker or perforated pipe at the bottom level of the gravel bed along the side of the house to discharge the rear yard and the neighbor from the rear, their water as it comes across our property out to the street, because the neighbor has a little concrete pad that is higher than the perimeter of his yard. So in fact, it's kind of coming towards me anyway, and without a catch basin or anything like that, I prefer to just get it out to the street with the roof leaders.
All right, so if you show that on the site plan, it's...
Can it be descriptive or a bed, I mean, like a cross
Right,
section?
and show specifically where your roof leaders are going to be directed.
Is it gonna be a dry well?
There will not,
No.
there will not.
Okay, I also noticed that it looks like you are connecting your new water sewer gas, right, to existing valves that are in the concrete sidewalk.
The entire front sidewalk and the curb will be.
Just make sure we can hear you at the mic.
Okay. You're going to,
I was just saying, if you're going to answer, just make sure you use the mic so they can hear you. Recorded.
Yeah, the intention would be across the 25 feet to remove everything and put it back properly.
right. And lastly, two more things, but just, 3 details you should have added to the plan. The sidewalk, right, driveway, your pavement, And you'll need an exemption letter from Freehold Soil Conservation District.
We did receive that and submitted an initial, with our initial zoning application, so I have a
Sorry,
copy of that.
That's in my report, so
Yeah.
I looked right past that.
Yeah, I'll pass it back.
And, DEP,
Pardon me?
DEP permitting.
CAFRA permit?
Right.
So aren't we exempt as under 5,000 square feet?
Not certain off the top of my head.
I believe it's permitted by rule, yeah.
Okay. Alrighty, and that is everything. Thank you.
Okay, good job. Okay, anybody else have any questions from the board? Okay, anybody from the audience have any questions? Okay. Oh, I see somebody, okay.
I would just like to summarize, what are the variances that they're asking for? C1?
Sure, well, if you, I think that's probably Carmel, do you want to run through the variances needed
Sure.
or requested?
All right, they need a minimum lot area in existing condition. Required is 4,000 square feet, they have 2,000. They need minimum lot width, which is 50 feet, it's a 25-foot lot, this is another existing condition. They also require a minimum front yard setback, 20 feet required. They are proposing 615-ish, couldn't quite tell, but you just testified that generally on the same street, what I wrote down is 16.1, was what you saw as
The prevailing setback?
prevailing, although you also mentioned average was 20.9.
That was 21.9 would be the average of the neighbor on each side of me, which there's some respective nature to that. We are requesting 15 feet.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
We're requesting a 15-foot front yard setback.
Right. Which is a decision for the board to make.
Of course.
And I don't think just on the right and the left of you creates a prevailing setback.
Okay.
And it was just a little hard to follow where those other setbacks you measured are in relation to your side of the street. So I think that's worth some discussion with the board in a moment.
You certainly, and don't forget I have the plan there if you want to look at, I have the measurement on each property.
Okay. We also, we'll come back to that. We also have minimum side yard setback where 6 and 8 are required, and 3 and 4, they have 3 and 3. And now this goes to an interesting part of your ordinance. According to 21-98.F.1, pre-existing, non-conforming, vacant lots may be used for single-family residential purposes, and if the following requirements are met. The proposed use will be a new single-family dwelling. Right, check. There is no available land abutting the lot. No such thing. The lot either provides off-street parking, or it includes the provision of off-street, which we do have. Building and lot coverage will not be exceeded, but in this case, the building coverage is exceeded, for which the applicant is requesting a variance. And then continuing on, for lots that don't meet the lot width requirements, the side yards may be reduced in the same proportion as the reduced width bears to the required width. So this proposal does not meet the side yard. They are also requesting a variance for that. So in addition to your normal bulk requirements in this zone, There's also this particular section of your ordinance in relation to non-conforming vacant lots. So another thing for the board to consider. They also, and that is everything. Those are the variances required.
Okay, thank you. Well done. Well, of course, that's why they're here. You got a small lot, trying to put a decent house on it. I know that street, I know it pretty well. It's a mix and match, to say the least. You know, like you described, some houses are more forward, some are back, some lots are bigger, some are small. Is it out of character with that neighborhood? I wouldn't say it would be. Okay, and I'll leave it at that, but.
I guess I'll offer some comments from the legal perspective. So touching on the two issues that the board engineer raised, regarding the front yard setback, and again, I don't mean this to be in any way an affront, you provided lay testimony, so you provided the methodology to your calculations. I would submit it's not expert testimony. The board is obviously free to consider it like it is anything else, and, the board engineer has opined, on that as well. I would also note the ordinance provides that it's the front yard setback would be 20 feet or the prevailing setback. It's actually not a whichever is less or whichever is greater. So if the board determines that a variance is needed either way, I'm not saying it doesn't matter at all, but if the board is free to assume it's 20 feet, in which case it's a variance, regardless of if there's some discrepancy or some discussion as to what the prevailing setback is. Moving to the second point with the ordinance, the code provision that Ms. Roberts just mentioned, it is a little uncommon, and I'll offer, having reviewed it, that again, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but reading it verbatim and literally, it's broken into two distinct sections. And the first section would be pre-existing non-conforming vacant lots may be used for single-family residential purposes. And then there's a colon, and then the second part, which is single-family or two-family uses on pre-existing non-conforming lots may be enlarged if the following requirements are met. At this point, the lot is vacant, since the prior use was removed. So I would submit that again, it's not abundantly clear, but this is the first bucket. And if you're in the first bucket, it's as if the rest of that ordinance doesn't matter, it doesn't apply. But again, ultimately, I don't know if it matters because you're still here for variances. So whether those variances within that ordinance are the same variances being requested in the table above. So I don't mean to confuse anyone, but I think for the board's purpose, I think it's better assuming that in this case, and I know Ms. Roberts and I discussed, given the nature of this application, that the board proceeds under the first section, which is that it's a vacant lot, in which case it just considers the bulk variances in the table, which are still the 6 that were indicated in Ms. Roberts' letter. So those would be the two comments I would have as to what was discussed on the front yard setback, and then 21-98F1.
You said it every time?
I don't think I can.
I'm not sure we can.
I know, it says I was getting.
I'm take away from this application, to your point, it being vacant land, if you're the owner of it, and you tear the house down, now you're
kind of just back as a vacant land. So that's why I don't,
you can do that
the language is
yourself,
somewhat,
you know what I'm saying?
the language is somewhat potentially unnecessary in the ordinance, so.
Okay. Okay, any other questions or comments on this application?
I would make a comment that the design of the house, in terms of the size of the house, considering the narrowness that you have available, I think it's very considerate design. If that makes sense. With the size of the house on 4 windows or whatever to keep their neighbors.
Well, we basically took the plan Jim drew 6 years ago on the house we live in and added the elevator, added the bedroom. My family's from California, Lori's is from Florida. When they come, that one bedroom is not appealing to them. At the current state, we have a full-size bunk bed and a twin-size bunk bed in there, and we're like, have at it. They're not liking it. So, and I do know from the bottom level on an 18-foot wide house, which is what we have, and I've measured inside the 18 feet, which is really less than 17 feet. The extra foot in width is fairly important. just for regular use. But that would be my response, and thank you for that.
Good. Recognize you.
So then the question I would have, 3 foot on one side. The adjacent lot, what's their standoff?
I do have that information.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so the property to the left, one facing 35 Miller, is 5.9 feet off the property line, which would then give us 8.9 feet open space. I don't see them adding to the 5.9 feet, being, they're starting out with a bigger lot, and they've got to be back 6 feet already, so I don't know about that. The property to the right, as I've mentioned, I think is kind of a double lot, it's 60 feet, and I see the houses down the street are on 30-foot lots, so I don't know if that's a double lot, but he's 7.6 feet off the property line, which gives us 10.6. So, there's plenty of open air and open
Plenty of open
space.
air. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure.
Okay. Chief, I know you had your hand.
I was gonna say, before I make a motion, do we need to come back and have them add everything in there, or can we make that motion tonight and you'll be satisfied with the additions that you
You
spoke
can
of?
make a motion subject to conditions, and they can do that work after this approval.
Right, so you would add those conditions to the resolution.
Right. Then they'll be signed off and off you go.
So then just, the board's getting closer, relatively close to making a motion, so just so the board is aware, so they're requesting both variances, and this isn't to say the board can't ask more questions, but I feel like it's appropriate to say now. Since they're requesting both variances, they have to satisfy the positive and negative criteria. There's been testimony, at least presented, that some of these are C1, some are all are C1 hardship variances based on the lot in and of itself, the narrowness, the shape, size, and whatnot. The C2 criteria is what's called the flexible criteria, where you have to advance the purposes of the municipal land use law. And then with both of those, you'd have to satisfy the negative criteria, which there's no substantial detriment to the municipal plan, zoning scheme, and the neighborhood, in essence. So those would be the questions for the board. If the board has any further questions as to the testimony as to that criteria, feel free to ask, but that's the charge.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions? Okay, then we're looking for a motion to either approve or deny this application.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like him to make a motion to approve LUB 25-09. That includes the C1, C2 variance requests, all the bulk variances that are associated with it, including the conditions such as extinguishing the easement and conditional basis that they will come back to meet all of the requirements that are also in the engineer's report.
I'll second.
Okay.
Who was
Well
seconded?
said. And
Mr. Zill?
Thank you. Mayor Berline.
Yes.
Chief Burton.
Yes.
Councilmember Oshewski. Yes. Mr. Saya.
Yes.
Mr. Zill.
Yes.
Mr. Cody.
yes.
Vice Chair Tierney.
Yes.
Chair Knox.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck and congratulations. I bet you have some support, all right?
Thank you for taking that house down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, no, I'm going to make
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute recess, and we'll back for our next application. Guys, jump the ship all the
I just did it quickly with my little was mapping, and it's like that one is 7 feet, this one is,
Hey, board members, we have a court stenographer in this evening, so, after we kind of get our introduction going, turn off your, recorders, so there's no there's no background for her not being here.
oh, you mean, unless you're talking?
Unless you're talking.
Turn
I'm
off your
sorry.
microphones.
Turn the microphones off.
Okay?
Unless you have a question at an appropriate time.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, and I see the applicant is here. Okay, I know the feeling. Okay, we should after the break, yeah, why don't we do a roll call, just to make sure we got through back on record.
Mayor Berlin. Here. Chief Burton.
Here.
Ms. LaRussa. Mr. Montecalvo.
Here.
Councilmember Olszewski. Here. Mr. Saya.
Here.
Mr. Zill. Here. Vice Chair Tierney. Here. Chair Knox.
Here.
Ms. Chang. Mr. Kramer.
Here.
Mr. Cody. Ms. Vickery. Here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
No. No. Yeah.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep,
Good
absolutely.
evening. For the record, I'm Donna Jennings from the law firm of Willen, Skolman and Spitzer on behalf of the applicant. As the board members are aware, we were here previously seeking preliminary and final major site plan approval for this project and were approved by resolution adopted on September 12, 2024. And as part of that resolution compliance, the applicant submitted an application with the Monmouth County Planning Board, which has jurisdiction over Bay Avenue, since that is a county road. Unfortunately, on March 24th, 2025, the county denied the application as approved by this land use board. I'm going to have our site engineer go through the specifics. So we're really here because of the county's denials. We had to amend the application to remove the garages off of Bay Avenue and convert that back into on-street parking, and then have the driveways only on the other street. So if you will recall, this is 60 Bay Avenue. It's identified as Block 42, Lot 1 on the township's tax map. The property is approximately 6,425 square feet, and it's located in the Central Business District within the CBD Redevelopment Area Overlay 2 Zone. I think it is important to note that the application is variance-free. So we did not ask for any variances the last time. We are not asking for any variances this evening. We are simply here to accommodate the requirements from the Monmouth County Planning Board approval. And as soon as Doug is done with his passing out his exhibits, we can get started. And I guess just as a matter of record keeping, we are in receipt of one new review letter dated May 21st, 2025. And we also have here this evening our architect, who also testified the last time, in case there's any specific questions with what went on in the building. So Doug, if you come on up and get sworn in. I'll sit down since I don't want to stand on top of you.
Please, perfect. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please spell and state your name and provide your business address for the record.
Sure. Douglas Cleland, last name Cleland, and our address is 1955 Route 34, Wall Township, New Jersey.
And could the board have your qualifications?
Sure. I'm a licensed professional civil engineer in the state of New Jersey. License is in good standing. I work for Insight Engineering as an associate. I've been there a little over 11 years now, working on a variety of projects from single-family homes to larger commercial site plans. I've also had the pleasure of serving as the board engineer for the City of Asbury Park Planning and Zoning Board for many years. And I think I said this, but my license is in good standing.
And you testified the last time.
And I was also here the last time, yes, about a year ago, I think.
The board accepts the qualifications.
Yeah, I would submit so. All right. I'm going to put the exhibit up. So I handed out a few exhibits. Three of them, one of them is the old site plan that was previously approved. What I'm putting up here is the current one. After we've made some changes.
I know it was submitted to you, but not the one part package.
Sure. I got a pen.
Proposed current site plan?
Yes. Proposed multi-family residence, site layout exhibit, dated 6/9/2025.
So which one's the original?
It is that one, yes. Little yellowish building with the 3 driveways on Bay Avenue.
Do you have that exhibit?
I can put that up as well, yes. This is also called Proposed Multifamily Residence Site Layout Exhibit, dated 7/26/2024.
Thank you. Okay. 2020. Okay, so that was the original one?
Yes.
Okay. Can you read that? Is it correct?
Just for informational.
Yes. Market meetings, this was prior. Okay. Got it.
All right, so just quick summarization, property information, 60 Bay Avenue is the address, block 42, lot 1, 6,425 square feet in lot area. We're in the CBD redevelopment overlay 2 zone. It's a corner lot. We've got 3 frontages, Bay Avenue to the southwest, South Street to the southeast, and Shrewsbury Avenue to the northeast, and it's surrounded, existing residential development to the northwest. Veterans Memorial Park's located to the southeast, across Shrewsbury Ave and South Street, and we're surrounded by a mix of commercial, multifamily, single-family residences, and many of which are raised above the flood located nearby. Multifamily dwellings are a permitted principal use, and we're here tonight seeking amended approval. The applicant was previously received approval to relocate, elevate out of the flood zone, and expand the existing 3-story dwelling with new driveways on Bay Avenue and Shrewsbury Avenue, which led to a new ground-level garage storage area, multi-level deck, and connected walkways and entrances from the sidewalks. There are currently 4 residential units in the existing building. 1 will be added as part of the renovation for a total of 5 units. All of this was previously approved. The prior approved plan sought vehicular access from Bay Avenue, so looking at that originally approved exhibit, it is County Route 8, Bay Avenue. We had 3 separate driveways originally proposed. So after approval from this board, we sought approval from the Monmouth County Planning Board. After several iterations and appearances before the Monmouth County Development Review Committee, it was determined that vehicular access to Bay Avenue for this project was not feasible. There are strict county regulations and requirements which related to driveway access that require a project with multiple frontages to use first the local road for vehicle access. They also require vehicle turnaround areas for all developments, including single-family homes. So we tried reducing number of driveways. We got all the way down in the last iteration to 1 combined driveway on Bay Avenue for the 2 garages that are closest to each other. We combined this driveway, in the hopes that, knowing there was an existing curb cut here, we were maintaining one of the existing one proposed, but they still did not approve it, and our waiver requests were denied. So as part of the current amended application, the driveway for the southernmost garage has been flipped to Shrewsbury Avenue side, and the northernmost garages have been converted into strictly storage area so that all vehicular access from Bay Avenue is removed. The county has also requested a right-of-way dedication, which is indicated on our plans. We requested that this dedication be in the form of an easement rather than a full property dedication, and this has been conditionally approved by the county. So about a week and a half ago, I appeared before the Design Review Committee again, and they did conditionally approve the application. So we were happy to finally receive that. Furthermore, the county requested that all structural components of the building remain outside of that dedication area. So we had to shift the building 8 inches towards Shrewsbury Avenue so that even the footing, which is below below the ground elevation remained outside of that dedication area. So in terms of parking, we're proposing to comply with the state electric vehicle regulations, and 10 parking spaces are required. 5 off-street parking spaces are proposed, whereas in the original approval, we had 7 off-street parking spaces. And this came from the loss of the 2 garage spaces which were on Bay Avenue. However, as permitted by the redevelopment plan, the remaining 5 parking space requirement will continue to be satisfied by available on-street parking. By closing that existing curb cut on Bay Avenue, comparing it to the originally approved plan by this board, since we've eliminated those driveways and are now closing that existing curb cut, we're actually gaining back 2 on-street parking spaces on Bay Avenue. To do this analysis, I assumed 23-foot long parallel parking areas. As testified to in the original application, we visited the site on 2 occasions last year to perform an observation of available parking spaces within 200 feet. We went on Friday, July 26th, 2024 at 6:15 p.m. and Saturday, July 27th, 2024 at 2:10 p.m. and counted only the parking spaces that were open and available to park. Any areas that had yellow painted curb, handicap parking, or extended no parking timeframes were excluded from that count. So on that Friday, we found 14 total available parking spaces, 6 within Bay Avenue to the north, 5 within Bay Avenue to the south, and 3 within South Street. And on that Saturday, we found 6 total available parking spaces, 2 within Bay Avenue to the north, 2 within Shrewsbury Avenue, and 2 within South Street. So in summary, even middle of the summer during these busy times, there were more than 5 spaces available within 200 feet of the property. We kept the analysis to 200 feet, knowing that that's, less than, typical. I would say even 300 to 400 feet is comfortable to be able to park a car and walk to your residence. But we wanted to be conservative, and we left it at 200 feet. As for some of the other changes, utilities, they were moved out of Bay Avenue as was requested by the county. We will comply with your board engineer's comments regarding some of those details being added to the plan. As for stormwater management, that really hasn't changed at all. We are proposing to collect all the roof leaders within a roof leader collection pipe and make a direct connection to an inlet within South Street. So overall, in summary, we're proposing an improvement as to the existing stormwater condition versus the proposed. Let's see here. One other minor change, the refuse and recycling has been located into the lower enclosure, accessed by a door from the driveway on Shrewsbury Avenue, and pickup will continue to operate as was previously approved. As for lighting, the intention is to keep the design exactly the same. We understand that the finished floor did change slightly from elevation 14 to elevation 15, but we will ensure that any revised design continues to comply with your lighting ordinance. Landscaping remains largely unchanged from what was previously approved, with some minor adjustments for the new walkways and driveway locations. And as for our outside agency approvals, we do have an NJDEP flood hazard area approved individual permit, and we have a certification from Freehold Soil Conservation District. And as I mentioned, we have a conditional approval from the Monmouth County Planning Board pending a few minor updates to the plan. I do have some responses prepared for your board engineer's memo. I can go into them now, or happy to take questions first. Sure. So I'll go through point by point, starting with comment number 1. Our project architect is here to provide testimony if needed. The doors on Bay Avenue are 6 feet wide, not wide enough for vehicle access, nor will there be any curb cuts. And as I stated, we have submitted these revised plans to the Monmouth County Planning Board and received conditional approval. Comments number 2 and 3 were informational. Comment number 4 talks about the repositioning of the dwelling. Again, this was necessitated by the county to avoid any structures, including footings, from encroaching into the requested dedication. Typical 9-foot by 18-foot parking areas are shown on the plan, and 2 fit within the wider 18-foot wide driveway area. The driveway from Shrewsbury Avenue to the southernmost garage, it's angled and technically less than 18 feet. I'm going to point that one out here. This driveway here to this is the garage that we flipped from Bay Avenue to Shrewsbury Avenue. So that driveway is less than 18 feet. I've got 15.6 feet from the face of the garage door. We're not relying on that driveway as a parking area, though. I would imagine a compact car could potentially fit there, but again, we weren't relying on that as a full parking space. Comment number 5, the plans will be revised accordingly. The 2 parking areas in the tandem garage, as well as the parking area in the driveway behind it, will be dedicated to the larger 3-bedroom unit, as was previously approved. So this parking space, and the one directly behind it, will all be dedicated to the larger 3-bedroom unit, which will be operated by the owner. The parking area in the driveway behind the refuse area would be assigned to another unit, and then the driveway and the parking area within the 1.5 car garage, the one that was flipped to Shrewsbury Avenue side, will be assigned to another unit. So in summary, 2 units will be relying upon on-street parking.
Excuse me.
Yes.
And you will dimension that, you'll show that all on the drawings so that it's...
Absolutely, yes. Comment number 6, we will revise the plans accordingly. Comment number 7, the plans will be revised accordingly. Comment number 8, talking about the width of the sidewalk. Sorry. Sure, I'll back up for a sec. So 6 talks about sections of the existing sidewalk, apron, and curbing are to be replaced. Please clearly indicate the areas and types of replacement. And we're happy to revise the plans accordingly. Number 7 discusses apron flares on the plans. Happy to update the plans as well. Comment number 8 talks about the detail indicating a 6-foot wide sidewalk and apron, whereas the plan appeared to have a 5-foot wide sidewalk, and we're happy to update that detail to match. There also is a comment about rolled concrete curb and gutter, and we will replace the existing curb with a curb that will match.
And you'll provide all the details requested?
Yes, absolutely. So comment number 9 talks about some existing yellow stripe no parking areas nearby. Indicate no parking painted curb along the west side of Shrewsbury Avenue. Provide parking and no parking spaces along both sides of Bay Avenue. So the third exhibit that we have prepared is a neighborhood aerial. Proposed multi-family residence neighborhood aerial exhibit dated 6/9/2025. So on this exhibit, we've taken the time to indicate all of the existing yellow painted curb. We've also indicated all of the different existing driveways within Bay Avenue, Shrewsbury Avenue, South Street, all within 200 feet of the subject property. Just to provide clarification that, as part of our analysis, we didn't include any sections of curb that, weren't already available for parking. So we did provide that on the exhibit, and also happy to provide that on our plans as well in terms of, I know there was comment about some of the striping, no parking striping in the driveway right across Shrewsbury Avenue. We'll clarify that on the plans as well. Comment number 10 discusses the circulation plans that were submitted. Brings into question the size and location of the driveways. Discusses some potential difficulties with maneuvers in and out of the garages. So we did go back and take a second look at the driveway, particularly on South Street, Shrewsbury Avenue. I reran the analysis. We made some changes on the exhibit, not yet on the site plan, but we certainly will, to provide more room for cars to get in and out. It's an entirely gravel driveway that's proposed. So we technically have two separate driveways. What we're planning on doing, which this was discussed last time at the original, as part of the original approval, we added a 5-foot wide gravel, it's less than 5 feet, a couple feet wide gravel turning area, adjacent to this existing 18-foot wide driveway. So by adding this driveway, we've made this more of a smooth curve to allow that movement in and out of this driveway to be much easier. And we're planning on adding a gravel turning area between them as well. So they'll effectively be two separate curb cuts, but to help facilitate cars getting in and out. We feel like this will make everyone's lives easier. And it was a good suggestion to take another look at it, and I'm happy with the result. We did rerun the turning movements. I have exhibits with me. Based on what I'm seeing, I don't see any conflicts. The one minor conflict comes from this parking stall to the north, the northernmost stall. If you're heading south from Shrewsbury, this turn here, in order to make that turn, we mostly stay out of the oncoming lane. For a split second, there's a very partial lane incursion, but it would only be for a split second, which is not uncommon at all on a narrow little road, and it's not even a full lane incursion. Based on the analysis I did, there's still, when the movement happens between the striping where there could potentially be a parked car here and the edge of the vehicle, there's still 6 feet there, so it's a very small incursion. Other than that, all the other movements work perfectly. There's no lane incursion at all. And also, to help with this,
Do you know what the width is between those two aprons and that whole section so it's going to be gravel?
I don't know off the top of my head. I could bring a scale around. 3-4 feet, yeah, I could.
If you want an exact measurement, you'll just use the scale sheet.
The reason I'm asking is more likely than not what's going to happen is that that's so narrow, the building department.
Hey, Chief, maybe put your microphone back on, it's turned off.
The building department's going to say, don't make it so narrow because it would be that much more of an obstruction of walking. They're going to say, make the whole thing an apron.
And of course,
Which gives you more turning radius. Which gives you more turning radius.
It's 3-4 feet, yeah. And we would be open to that idea. We wanted to provide the separation, but if it's going to help turning movements, we're happy to make it one apron as well. it certainly wouldn't hurt.
So when you revise the plans and you present those turning movements, I'd like to see them as though there's a car in one driveway already.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
So we can see
Yes.
worst case.
Yes. And I did do that. I do have exhibits that show all of that. If the board wants to see that, happy to pass those out.
If you'd like,
I don't wanna bore
I
everyone
still
though
think
either.
it would be important for you to revise the plans and submit them,
Yes,
so that I can see and comment on them.
sure.
And, have you thought about how to remove that small incursion?
Yes, I have thought about it. I don't know that it's possible. I mean, we're talking about a split second where there's still 6 feet between the edge of the car and the parallel parking on Shrewsbury Avenue. So it's, a local road, 25 miles per hour speed limit, which it's not uncommon at all for that to occur. And it's only that one parking space.
The right-of-way on Shrewsbury is 60 feet. I'm sorry, How do you do that? All right, so the right-of-way on Shrewsbury Avenue is 60 feet.
Yes.
So how wide is the pavement? Pavement looks to be quite wide.
Yes, there's also parallel parking on either side. After you factor that in, there's enough for, 2 lanes of traffic, but, it's certainly not a wider than normal street.
I am not inclined to approve a plan that's got an incursion, that is your word, right, on it. And I recommend you find a way to remove that.
Yeah, we're happy to take a look at it. I think there's a way that we can figure it out, yes.
Is that with the car? Is that with the car in the driveway? Is that what you're talking about? If there's,
No,
to satisfy what you said, if there's a car in the driveway, you can't make that turn? Or just not at all?
With or without, right? You have to come in, to your own driveway. You are in the travel lane and you're already more towards the center of the road because there's parking space on both sides. And whenever you need to turn in, if there's a car there, right, you can't make that turn without crossing the center line of the road.
Unless it's angled parking.
Unless it's what?
It would be angled parking, and you would have to.
I guess to satisfy, that would be on him.
Yeah, right.
This is like a reverse angle.
Yeah.
I think the solution
Is the solution to ask for a variance or a longer curb cut, and the whole
This is
thing?
the driveway here as well. The curb's gonna attempt to come up a little. By the time you bring the curb up, you're going back down again already, so there's already a driveway here. Making this a little wider would solve the issue for sure.
That's the driveway for Lot 2? Right. We really don't want you to have to use the driveway apron of Lot 2 to access your own site.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I just mean making our depressed curb a little bit wider, still within our property. But at the end of the day, it's, probably best bet if you wind up with one long crosser. Not that we'd be in their driveway at all, but by the time, there's no room to bring the curb up and then back down again, so, widening this depressed curb, still within our property, would alleviate that issue.
Which might actually help both lots.
Yeah, it would help their turning as well.
It might, your turning radii, right? Your turning movements will
Yeah.
show.
Absolutely, yeah. Sure.
Am I right? Oh, I'm sorry. Am I right in assuming that you have to back out of every parking place that you have here
That's correct, yes.
onto Shrewsbury? So you could have people backing out of, as I'm looking down, the right one and the center one at the same time, more or less?
Yes. Again, it would operate similar to a single-family driveway.
Well, you have 5 cars under here, yes?
Well, 3 are dedicated to the one unit, 1 is dedicated to another unit, and 1 to another.
Yeah.
But the backing out is just like you would on a single-family lot.
I lived in a high-rise in Fort Lee for 40 years. I remember the garage experiences, and that's what's making me think, because everybody seems to want to go here and there at the same time. And
No,
we're
I
not
get it.
talking and saying, you go first.
I get it, and that's why with the tandem spaces, we're assigning them to one unit. Obviously, there's communication that needs to happen. It
Between
can all happen
all.
internally, right? And then everyone else has, they're not worried about someone else behind them when they back out. And these are going to be long-term residents. You do become familiar with how to get in and out of your driveway over time.
But they're also backing out onto a curve on Shrewsbury.
Yes, and that's what was originally approved here as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, but aren't you exacerbating that with 3 driveways now backing out onto a curve on Shrewsbury Avenue?
So we had one double driveway, 18-foot wide, and a second driveway was added, correct?
Closer to Bay Avenue. Right. So
Closer to the corner, yes.
So now you have a driveway where somebody's backing out onto a blind curve of a very, very busy intersection. Okay. You want me to repeat that?
Yes, just what you.
Yes, you have added another driveway where someone is backing out onto a blind curve at a very busy intersection. And the cars come off of Bay Avenue onto Shrewsbury, and they cut at an angle right around this house as it is. They're not going to see a car backing out of that
Yeah.
driveway.
Can you back into the garage?
You can, yes.
You can, right?
You can, yeah. And
Sorry, Rob, I'm asking you a question. I appreciate.
Oh, I thought you were
that
done, I'm sorry.
I'm not. I'm asking how you're solving for that safety
Yeah.
problem that you've exacerbated.
Safety's
with
not
the new
our issue.
plan.
It's not our problem. The radius is
Can I
our
ask
problem.
that question? Do you,
Well, you interrupted me when I went, so, okay, I can go back.
I didn't interrupt you.
To answer your question, so South Street in Shrewsbury, the intersection is obtuse, so it's not a typical 90-degree intersection where you might think it's a blind intersection. You do have line of sight there, as in terms of seeing cars coming and going. It's a 25-mile-per-hour road. Bay Avenue, busier road. South Street in Shrewsbury, not as busy as Bay. And that's part of the county's regulations in terms of why most county roads are much busier than Bay Avenue. But, that's why they typically don't allow backing out onto a county road, and they prefer that happen on the local road. So, we're trying to juggle 2 regulations here and obviously appease the county. They've conditionally approved it, and, that corner there on South and Shrewsbury, it's an obtuse angle, so it's not like a true blind curve as you stated, and there is a slight line there to be able to see cars coming.
Mr. Coates, put it on the record for me, please.
John?
It's done.
Okay. So just to Anne Marie's point, the backing out would be not to the blind side of it because the traffic is coming down Shrewsbury Avenue on that side.
Right, I mean, I
Right, so
guess you have three
the only
main choices
blindness
there.
would be the people coming up Shrewsbury Avenue.
I would imagine most people backing out, would have their rear end.
Yeah,
north.
exactly.
So, but again, you get familiarity with it, it being a long-term resident. It's your driveway, you use it every day. So I believe it's perfectly safe.
And I guess the second question is regarding the extended curb cut, you would agree to that as a condition of approval to do the extended curb cut so you would have the radius?
Yes,
Turn in?
to avoid, any lane incursion onto oncoming traffic on Shrewsbury.
I think just so, and
We might end up getting to that. I think widening the curb might trigger additional relief.
Right, based on how the ordinance is written.
Right. And I believe will be a waiver.
Right.
Continuing on, I'm now on to section 2 of the report, comments, other. Comment number 1, the building height on the plan will be updated to match the architecturals. The proposed building height is 30.3 feet as shown on the architectural plans. That was a result of the change in finished floor. Still fully compliant for building height. Number 2 talks about the change from finished floor of 14 to finished floor of 15. We did go to 15 to add, we are in a flood zone, in my opinion, higher the better, especially with, the DEP's rule changes coming and everything. And it provides a little extra headroom in the garage and storage areas, and provides ample space to ensure that any mechanicals are safely and sufficiently elevated above the flood while still complying with building height. And the finished floor of 15 is the same finished floor that the NJDEP approved. Number 3, the site plans will be revised to add the additional foot to the building height, and as I mentioned, still comply with building height for the zone. Comment number 4 discusses sanitary sewer lateral, indicating any utility crossings, providing more information, and we would agree to revise the plans accordingly to the board engineer's satisfaction. Number 5, more about utilities and required trenching, and milling and paving the full width of South Street and Shrewsbury Avenue, and 25 feet beyond the outer limits of the trenches longitudinally, and any restriping that may need to occur, and we would agree to revise those plans accordingly. Number 6, coordinating the water service sizes between the plan and detail. We'll update the plan accordingly. Number 7 discusses lighting. As I mentioned, we'll ensure that the lighting design will comply as previously agreed to in the original approval. Number 8 talks about the proposed roof leader collection system connecting to the inlet on Shrewsbury Avenue, and we're showing no sidewalk being disturbed and replaced there. And we're happy to add the note confirming that the sidewalk shall not be disturbed, and that the 6-inch header pipe is adequately sized for all gutters that connect to it. Number 9 and 10 are, number 9 is again about utilities, and we'll revise those details accordingly. And number 10, fully testimony was provided regarding the affordable housing at the original, as part of the original approval, and that has not changed.
Okay. Was that, I guess, your testimony, more or less?
Yes, okay. Of course, happy to take any more questions.
I guess I got a couple things. I'm concerned with the amount of changes that are being proposed without actually seeing those changes. Mr. Roberts, are you kind of in line with that as well? I know you gave him these recommendations, but is this something that we need to have come be presented before this board?
Well, I agree with you. I'm happy to hear that you're going to comply with everything, but it's important that, I believe it's important that we see these plans and I review them prior to action by the board. There are a lot of revisions that are being made. I'm particularly concerned about Shrewsbury Avenue, the driveways, the changes to the aprons, and those turning movements. So I
Yeah.
would like to review those for the board and see those plans.
Okay, understood. Please understand, we're obviously, looking at a variety of things here. And I think for the board's comfort, seeing at least a good chunk of these on paper, in plans, would make me feel a little better. Because right now I'm going on some what ifs, which makes me a little uneasy. Good.
I got a question about the southern unit with the parking and driveway. Do you intend to park the car in the driveway there?
No, that was not relied upon as a parking space. It's not long enough for a full-size vehicle.
Okay.
I did mention that, a compact vehicle could potentially fit there, but
Yeah, but it's
in
9 feet.
reality, but that's not.
It's 9 feet, though, correct? Your measurement?
It was 15.6 from the face of the garage. But again, we're not relying on that as a parking space.
Okay.
As it stands right now, are there any waivers being requested?
It would be the width of the driveway, and curb cut. And certainly I can understand the chairman's concern. That's really what we're talking about in terms of revisions. The rest is, engineering detail work that we're happy to work with Carmella on. The turning movements also, besides the driveway change, that's really all that has to change to make all the turning movements work perfectly. So, it's work for us to get the turning movements perfect, but, in terms of what the board needs to see, we're really only talking about, widening that curb cut a bit.
And I'll get it eventually. I guess I could just look to the light.
Yeah.
Top here. That would help. And I would say, I think the board engineer's request to see the circulation plans with vehicles in the spaces. But
That's right.
Yeah, we do have the 9x18 parking areas on there, and I assume that's what you mean by avoiding those areas, right?
Yes. Yes, show your turning movements as though there's a car parked.
Correct, yes. Yeah, I have them here. I'm happy to.
Even if you show them to me tonight, I'm really going to want to take the time to look at them. And I ask this because you may recall that one of the conditions of approval from the original approval was to submit the turning movements, right?
Yes.
And we didn't see them at the time of the approval. When they returned, I had concerns. So even though we're looking at an amended approval tonight, you never got through resolution compliance for the original approval. I would really like to take the time to go over these and provide a thoughtful response for the board. It's very difficult to do this sort of thing, right? On your feet here in a meeting.
No, I understand that.
if you do want to, you're welcome to go through them if you want to give the board a flavor, or if you'd rather, wait. That is entirely up to you, though.
I did bring them all.
Like I said, it's entirely up to you. I don't want
Maybe the board would be willing to, at least it's amended preliminary, and come back to final if you got a chance to review the turn radius. At least we walk out with some kind of approval.
One thing I did want to point out is here on your handout, you have that Shrewsbury Avenue is a 60-foot right-of-way, which it is, but only 35 of those feet are the actual road. The other 7.5 feet on each side is the sidewalk and a little bit into the private property. So it's probably not. You mark your exhibit here. That Shrewsbury Ave is a 60-foot right-of-way, but the actual road only measures 35 feet. The remaining 7.5 feet on each side are the sidewalk and a little bit that goes into the residential property.
The survey, which I trust one of mine did it, indicates it's a 50-foot right-of-way.
But again, the right-of-way includes the sidewalks. It's not the street.
Yes, it does include the sidewalk.
And the 15 or 50?
I'm also concerned about backing out into Shrewsbury Avenue. It gets very dicey at that corner. I'm concerned about your lighting. It is, I'm sure, going to get the attention of the Environmental Commission for the lights that you're using on your outside lighting are going to light up the whole house. So to the detriment of all the surrounding homeowners, it'll be a problem.
All the lighting we're proposing is
Is it shielded?
fully shielded,
Okay.
dark sky friendly.
Because some of the, in the plans, some of the lights do not look shielded. More.
Probably four of them. It's one. Yep.
Yeah, this one is.
These are not shielded, they're not shielded.
Okay.
Spent a lot of money on engineering.
Oh, man. All right.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm hogging up the plans.
So, if I could just address the lighting. There is one fixture that, I say it's shielded, it has a cover on it. I believe it's lighting fixture C that you were referring to. It's a very muted light, obviously with, proximity to property lines. We wanted to be careful not to cause any adverse glare. But we also had to comply with your lighting ordinance, which, drove us to add additional lights to be able to satisfy those requirements. I will say the lighting design is 100% compliant with your ordinance.
Thank you.
And, as I passed out the turning movement exhibits, while you're looking at them, when you look at the car turning, there's two lines. There's two on the outside and two on the inside. The outermost lines represent the shell of the car, and the interior lines represent the outside of the tire tracks.
Jenny, you want to mark those items and go through them?
So I'll start with turning movement exhibit 1.
You're gonna mark all.
Yeah.
All right up.
Turning movement exhibit 2 will be A5. Turning movement exhibit 3 will be A6. turning to Exhibit 4 will be Lane 7. So starting with A4, this is the movement heading north on Shrewsbury Avenue, making the left-hand turn into the southernmost garage. As you can see on the exhibit, heading into the driveway, the tire tracks stay entirely within the express curve. Smoothing out this driveway transition helped us to make this turn. The vehicle will be able to pull within the garage doors without any conflict whatsoever.
What's the width of that garage door? That's not listed on the plan.
The southernmost garage.
You know what, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but you're showing us things that, our professionals haven't seen. And these are pretty intense. I mean, you're showing, you know, exits and, you know, various turnoffs. I really think it would be in your best interest as the applicant to let our professionals review this and then come back before the board with our professionals' notes, comments. I'm sure you'll talk in the meanwhile before our next meeting, and we can come here and clean this up rather quickly if some of these things are met ahead of time. Because the way I'm looking at it right now is, we're taking your word this is accurate, we're taking your word this is, you know, scaled properly, and I don't feel comfortable, I'm sure most of the board does not feel comfortable, I know our engineer does not feel comfortable, us making a decision on one side of the argument.
Yeah, I totally hear your concern. We wanted to, you know, let the board know that we did consider it. We prepared these exhibits because we wanted to show that we do.
Well, I would say save them.
Yeah.
I'm not saying throw them away and scrap them.
Yeah.
Yes, they need to be changed. Right. But I would recommend that we do, postpone this application until our professionals have a chance to look it over. And you guys, of course, can talk about various things in the interim, and we come before the board, with things that we can agree upon or disagree upon. Because right now it is a one-sided conversation, your side.
Understood.
And that all measurements are, sorry. And please also make sure that all measurements are properly marked, because, please make sure that all of the measurements are properly marked. We should know exactly how many feet certain things are, and it's hard to make a determination without knowing the exact measurements.
My question would be, is the garage necessary? And if you didn't have the garage, then you can move around on the property a little bit better.
Are you referring to the southernmost garage?
Yes.
Well, it is providing us an additional parking space. Technically, your ordinance does permit that parking may be satisfied on street, but we wanted to provide as much on-site parking as possible.
But if you remove the garage, can't you add more on-site parking?
Well, there's living area.
There's living area above. I think it would complicate the architectural design.
Okay, so it's really up to you, the applicant, if you want to go with what you got, have the board, you know, vote on this, we certainly can, or if you want to prefer, or have our professionals look at it, come back again with a little clearer understanding of what we're dealing with, we could do that as well. So really, the choice is up to you.
No, that's fair. We'll take a postponement.
And I guess, oh, sorry, I just want to, before you're more than welcome to speak, so I'm not gonna, I'm not cutting you off by any means. So I think just before, if that is the path that we're going to take, we should just be clear of what's going to be asked of the applicant for when they return. So understanding that the engineer's request is that under maybe some minutia excluded, but that the comments will be addressed in the updated plan. Is it also still the desire of the board to see turning movement exhibits with vehicles parked in there? Okay, so then if you could provide that as well. Well, like I said, these are still great, so I'm not.
Yeah, we'll incorporate those into the site plan.
Perfect. And then is there anything?
The lighting plan was a question.
Oh, in the lighting plan, you said you'll revise, so you'll show the lesser intensity, lower illumination, however you want to phrase it. Okay. Oh, yeah, and I guess to the extent, the dimensions, I guess to the extent, I guess this is going to be a general comment, obviously the dimension. Providing those, I guess, anything that is, missing from a setback perspective or any width such as reflecting the width of the garage, and I understand the architect has that information, but if you could provide that just so it's readily visible. I think that generally covers it, but.
Yeah, and I am sorry to, say this, because we did approve this application as you came in the first time. Obviously, the county came in and kind of overruled us, and we learned something, about the county road ourselves. But we do have to make it right. It is a rather large project. We do have to make it right.
And the applicant, do you want to speak? If you do, then just come up, I'll just briefly swear you in, yep. And understanding you may not want to speak that long, but still. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
It is.
Please spell and state your name for the record and provide your address.
My name is David Cahill, and I live at 60 Bay Avenue, Highlands, New Jersey.
Great. Go ahead.
David Cahill, Cahill.
Maybe it was the accent.
Americans say Cahill, but that's not right. First of all, I want to say thank you for your time, right? Okay? The county was a surprise to everybody, right? And I hear all the comments here, especially, may I call you Marianne? Anne-Marie, sorry. I don't have my glasses, so Marianne, I hear your comments.
Catherine.
Oh, Anne-Marie, sorry, I got it wrong again. Sorry, apologize. So, look, I've owned that house since 2018, and I've lived in it since 2020. Right now, and just so you understand, right, I totally, fully understand the concerns about the traffic on that road, right? No illusions. Right now, today, 3 cars come around the park and cross that road and pull into parking spaces a day already, and every day there's 3 cars, and every day people back out. All of my neighbors all down the road have single car garages on that side. There's no turnaround underneath. Everyone has to back out onto that street. And while, we say, like, there's 5 cars coming out there now, you live in a high-rise, and I understand that, right? The reality is, 3 of them are mine, and they're my kids, but they're at college, so they're never going to be there. So it's 3 cars turning in every day. Every neighbor does the same thing. Every neighbor's aware of the difficulty of that corner. But it's been 7 years, we've never had a problem. Knock on wood. And we're all very aware of it. But as I look to you, right, I'm doing this project so I can have a place for my kids to live, right? And I was hoping to be done by now. And it's not your fault, it's the county's right, we get it. But I don't know I don't control the width of the road. I don't control the width of the pathway. I'm fully aware, but I don't understand, we need guidance. How am I going to get these cars out? We're asking for the same thing we've been doing for years, right? And we're trying to put the garages underneath and do everything we want. So, I'm concerned about the safety because I don't want anyone getting hurt, right? I can't stand the motorbikes coming around there at speed, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Gator, not to cut you off, but, we all know the road, and I agree with pretty much everything you say, but there still is a matter of just dotting the i's, crossing the t's.
Yeah, no, I've got that, and I apologize for that. We'll make sure we get the town engineer everything she wants and your experts.
Or at least, shorten out this as much as you can, and then we'll have a little bit more to talk about. Because again, right now, we're talking about some what-ifs.
And I just wanted everyone to know that today, everything we're talking about was already existing and everybody's.
Sure, but you're gonna add another unit onto it, you're gonna change the layout of the property, so there are some things to consider. If you weren't changing anything, then you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I get it. That's a fair point. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so then I guess we're looking for a motion to carry this application to the next.
Do we want to set a date certain? So that yeah, I think we can do it. So that way we could set it with no further notice being required.
Okay. So do you wanna?
Yeah. So I guess, just if everyone since the stenographer's still recording, so if everyone could just make sure to keep their conversation to a minimum. We'll need to have the plans with sufficient time to review, so whatever date we pick, just hopefully have the plans, I don't know how many, so at least 2 weeks ahead of time? No, they won't need to notice, yeah. All right, so Nancy, when are we, and is there availability on that date, or are we looking?
Okay. So it was noted that August 14th is our next date? Okay. All right. Then we'll make a motion to carry this application. There's no further need of notice to the August 14th date. Yes, provided that our professionals get the plans 14 days prior to the next meeting, give us ample time to review it, and hopefully we'll come to a better conclusion next meeting. Is that a motion?
Yep, so it'll be,
that'd be July 31st by plan submitted.
perfect.
That's a motion?
Yeah, you can make a motion.
Okay, looking for, I'll offer that motion to carry this
I'll second it.
motion, okay?
Seconded. Mayor Gulon.
Yes.
Chief Burton.
Yes.
Mr. Montano.
Yes.
Councilmember Duffy. Yes. Mr. Sire.
Yes.
Mr. Bill.
Yes.
Mr. Kramer.
Yes.
Mr. Cody.
Yes.
Vice Chair Tierney. Chair Knapp.
Yes. All right, guess we'll see you next month. Thank you. Let's wait for him. Okay, unless we have anything else to go over, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn our meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned.
Hang on, wait, we forgot the public portion. It's the general public.
General.
portion meeting with the public comment.
Oh.
Did we do that at the beginning?
I did at the beginning. Yeah. All right, now we're out of here.
Yeah.